Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, today we will study ayat 282 to 83 of Surah Al-Baqarah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى.
O those who had believed, when you mutually contract a loan for a specified term, then you write it. And let a writer write with justice. No writer should refuse to write as Allah has taught him. So let him write, and let the one who has the obligation dictate. And let him fear Allah, his Lord, and not leave anything out of it. But if the one who has the obligation is of limited understanding or weak or unable to dictate himself, then let his guardian dictate with justice, and bring to witness 2 witnesses from among your men. And if 2 men are not there, then a man and 2 women from those whom you accept as witnesses. So that if one of the 2 errs, forgets, is unable to tell, then one of them can remind the other. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, those who have believed amanu, form 4. It is direct address to us. Iza tayantum, when you contract, may mutually contract a loan, bidainin loan, ila ajalin, for a specified term. Musamman is specified and ajalin is term. Faktubu, it is fi'lam, imperative verb in which there is an order, you write it. So Allah Ta'ala is ordering, when you take any loan for a specified term, then you should write it. وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ كَاتِبٌ بِالْعَدْلِ, and the one who writes between you, he should write with justice, bil-adl. وَلَا يَابَ كَاتِبٌ أَن يُكْتُبَ, the writer should not refuse. La is prohibitive la, in which there is order not to do something. And so over here, the katib should not refuse to write. Kama allamahullah, the way Allah has taught. Allama is bab 2. It means that Allah has taught you. وَلْيَكْتُبْ وَلْيُمْلِلِ الَّذِي. Now this lam over here is called imperative lam. There is an order for a person who is at the moment not present, that is a third person. We will discuss it later, inshallah. وَلْيُمْلِ, and the one, again, this is an order because Allah Ta'ala is considering that we are talking to the people who are at that time not present, that let the one who has the obligation, al-haq, to dictate. وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ, and you should fear Allah. وَلَا يَبْخَسْ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا, and the writer should do it as dictated, and nothing should be left. فَإِنْ كَانَ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِ الْحَقُّ, but if the one who's taking the loan, rather, haq, who is the obligation to take the loan, safiyan or daifan, he has limited understanding, or he is weak, or awla yastatiu, and if he himself is unable to dictate, yumillah, to dictate huwa yumlil, then let dictate his wali, that means guardian, with justice. Wa ashhadu, and you make witnesses, two witnesses. Shahidaini, this is for two, for dual. Shahidaini, two from among your men, rijalikum. Fa in lam yakuna rajulaini, if the men are not there or not available, then vamratani, two women, mimman tardauna min ash-shuhadai, from the one whom you accept as witness shuhada. Antadilla edahuma, for the reason that if one forgets, fatuzakira edahuma ukhra, then the other one should give him courage to say the right thing. Aminu, form 4, perfect verb, who has already believed. Falyumlil, walyumlil, yumlil. Now these three are used, and actually it is yumlil. And over here, this is conjunction, and lam is the imperative lam, in which you order somebody who is a third person. We will discuss this later a little bit more. It's form 4, and yumillah is simple imperfect verb. Over here, this lam has kasra to read it with the coming word, which is al-lazi, wal yumlil lazi. It's form 4, and in form 4, he made himself do or perform an action, although over here there is an order to make an action. Tadayantum, this is form 6, and when you mutually make a contract with Dainin for loan. Form 6 denotes, among other things, the following: reciprocal action, purely mutuality. It's a mutual action which is performed, and it is a loan between the two persons which is mutually agreed upon. Musamman, it is form 2, causative and intensive, and it makes an order more stronger. And so it's an order that you should write when you make a contract, mutual contract, for a specified term. Faktubu, this is imperative verb in which there is an order to write. And Allah Ta'ala is also saying, and the writer should not refuse to write as well. And he should write as Allah has taught him. These are the few words which has been used. Wal yattaqillah will come later on. This lam over here is imperative lam. Imperative verb is something in which you give order to the person who is second person. It is an order, you go, you sit, normally used for ordering person in front of you. This is the normal imperative verb. In the imperative, when imperative lam is used, it is used to order or request third person. The form la yaktub is used, let him write, or he should write. This form is used with the first person plural, and this lam is used, which is it's called imperative lam. So it is an order to a person who is not present, and he has to obey the order. Further details are here. I think you should read it. It's important. Walyattaqillah. Again, this lam is the imperative lam, and Allah is ordering that person who is going to write that you should fear Allah. Allama, this is again form 2. In form 2, the second radical is doubled. Allah is saying, you write it as I have taught you. And for tazakkira, this is used when one of the women, one of the female witness is forget something, then the other one should remind. Tazakkira, to remind the other. Yastatiyu, it is form 10. Although form 10 is mostly used for requesting something or seeking something. Over here, this means he is unable. Washadu, and you call for witness. Shahidaini, the other word used, 2 witnesses for evidence. And ishtashadu, again, this is imperative, which is an order. Allah Ta'ala is ordering that you call for evidence, 2 witnesses. Ayat 282, part 2.
ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم.
And the witnesses should not refuse when they are called upon, and do not be weary to write it. That means you should not hesitate to write, whether it is small or big, for a specified term. That is more just in the sight of Allah and more sound as evidence and more appropriate to prevent doubt between you. Except that it is a training on the spot which you conduct between you, so there is no sin on you if you do not write it, and take witnesses when you make a transaction. The writer should not be harmed, nor any witness. If you do so, indeed it is a sinful conduct from you. And fear Allah, and Allah teaches you, and Allah is for everything all-knowing. وَلَا يَأْبَى الشُّهَدَاءُ, and the witness, shahada, should not refuse. This law is prohibitive law, yaba, refuse. So it's an order. You should not refuse. Iza madaw, when, iza is conditional particle, when you are invited or when you are called upon. Wala tasamu, and don't be weavy, don't dislike or be hesitant to write it. And taktubuhu, to write it. Whether it is saghir, small, or kabir. It means big. Ila ajali, its term. Zalikum aqsatu indullah, and it is more just in the sight of Allah. Wa aqmabadu wa aqwamu, and more sound as shahada, evidence. Both these are superlative degree. Aqsatu and aqwamu. Wa adna Allah tartabu, and it is more appropriate to prevent doubt. Illa an takuna, except if the trade zara is hand to hand and it is on the spot as you conduct between yourself. And laysa, it is not any sin on you. Alaykum. Allah taktabuha. So if you do not write it, la taktabuha, if you don't write it. Wa ashhadu, and take witness, iza tabayatum, when you make such a transaction. La tudarra katibun, this is Form 3, and Allah Ta'ala is saying, don't harm the writer nor the witness. In Vain Tafaru, and is also conditional particle. If you do, then you are doing a sinful act. Wattaqullah, Form 8, wattaqu, you fear Allah. Yu'allimukumullah, Allah teaches you. This is Form 2. Wallahu bi kulli shay'in alim, and Allah is for everything all-knowing. Alim is noun of intensity. Aqsatu, in the eyes of Allah it is just, and aqwamu, and it is sound. Both these are superlative noun, and the superlative nouns are on the pattern of afalu. It is also an adjective, and I have given all the details here. You can read it. Tartabu, it is Form 8, so that you don't have any doubt if you do things in writing. Wattaqu, Form 8, it is imperfect verb, and this is imperative verb, which is an order. You fear Allah. And Form 8, it refers to make oneself do something with some effort, getting something done for oneself via someone. Tudirunaha, ashadu, these are all Form 4, and ashadu is imperative verb, which there is an order, and you take witness even when you are doing transaction hand to hand. But when you write, then definitely you have to have the witness. Tabayatum, this is Form 6, and when you make a transaction, even hand to hand, you take some witnesses. In Form 6, it denotes, among other things, the following: reciprocal action, pure maturity. And over here, transaction is happening between the two people. Dara, do not harm. This is Form 3, imperfect verb. Form 3 implies someone or something else present at the action when the action is performed on him or her. Do not harm the writer and the witness. It's a warning. And if you do so, then you do a sinful act. Yuallimu, this is Form 2, where in Form 2 it is causative or intensive. Like from Form 1, alima, to know. In Form 1 becomes causative, allama, to teach. Over here it is yuallimu, this is the imperfect verb. Ayat 283.
وَإِن كُنتُمْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ وَلَمْ تَجِدُوا كَاتِبًا فَرِهَانٌ مَقْبُوضَةٌ فَإِنْ أَمِنَ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا فَلْيُؤَدِّ الَّذِي اؤْتُمِنَ أَمَانَتَهُ وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم.
And if you are on a journey and do not find a writer, then a security given position of. And if one of you trusts the other, then the one who is trusted discharge his trust and let him fear Allah, his Lord. And do not conceal the evidence, for whoever conceals it, his heart is indeed sinful, and Allah is all aware of what you do. Fine. it is a conditional particle, and if you are kuntum, you are on the journey, safar, walam tajidu, and you do not find katiban, writer, fayranum makbuda, then you give something in possession for security. In amana, and if one of you amina, one of you trust the other, then who is trusted? Fal yuaddi. Lam over here is imperative lam. Who is trusted should start the trust. وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ, and let him fear. Again, this lam is imperative. Let him fear his Rabb, Allah. This lam, imperative lam, is for the one who is the third person. وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الشَّهَادَةَ, and do not conceal the witness. وَمَنْ يَكْتُمْهَا, whoever conceals it, his heart, qalbuhu, his heart is sinful. وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ عَلِيمٌ, and Allah is all aware of ta'lamuna, what you do. Alim is aware, and it is a noun of intensity. Inna is conditional particle, and it makes the coming verb mazzoom, that is juicy mood. Where Allah Ta'ala is saying, and if you are on a journey, kuntum is you are, it's ajwaf, weak ajwaf, and it is a special way of making kuntum over here. It has been given. Lam is a negative particle, and the important thing is that it is used with imperfect verb, but it brings about two changes. One is that it turns imperfect verb into perfect verb in meaning, and then changes the imperfect verb from nominative to juicy verb. Tajidu is a weak mithal, imperfect verb, and it has been made juicy mood by lam, and it means that if you do not find. Fal yuaddi, fa is the result particle, lam is the imperative lam, and yuaddi is form to verb. Fa is normally used for with the jawabu shart, and there are certain conditions in which it is used, which has been given over here. You can study it. Imperative lam, we learned before that imperative verb is called amr, and it signifies order or command, like you go or you sit. This is the one in which you give order to the person who is in front of you, that is the second person. But to request or to order third person who is not present, then you use this imperative lam. Full detail has been given, and before I have already explained also in ayat 282. Yuaddu is form 2, and it is imperfect verb, the juicy mood. Dal is in form 2, the second radical is double. And when you are making weak naqis singular imperfect verb, then the third radical is dropped. Mutmina, this is passive perfect verb of form 8. And it means the one who is trusted. He should discharge his trust, basically. Utumina is form 8, and this form 8 is something which you do with some efforts. Wal yattaqi, this lam is imperative lam, and this is form 8, singular. And this is like muttaqi, yattaqu, yattaqi, that you fear. Let them fear, because it's an order to the third person. The prohibitive law, to say in Arabic you go, we say izhab. To say you do not go, we use this prohibitive law to prevent somebody for doing something. The imperfect verb is made juicy mood and by putting sukoon on the last letter, and the plural is made juicy mood by dropping the noon. So what is happening is this prohibitive law has made taktumuna juicy mood, and this is taktumu which has been made juicy mood, and it is saying that you should not conceal. La is not, and you should not conceal is taktumu, the evidence. This is a sort of a warning, and man is also a conditional and particle which makes the coming verb juicy. Whoever do this, then he do a sinful act, which is in their heart. Alhamdulillah, we finished our lesson today. The PDF file link is there in the description. Click on it. It will generate a request for access. Click on the request, then the message will come to me, and then I will give you the permission. The PDF file is very important. It has got a lot of information. Please read to really understand the language.